All I know is somebody said, you should go be an actor. And I said, no, that's not my thing. I wanted to be an architect, something in the design world. But it started a little thought in my head, and then later on, somebody, a good friend, actually he became the press secretary for Yoko and John Lennon, for Don Johnson, Paris Hilton, people like that. Back in that day, he was like a radio disc jockey, and he used to have a little house up in the canyon, and I was a surfer boy from the beach. And whenever I'd come up, and I'd met him at this party at one time that my girlfriend took me to, and he was one of these little Yoda kind of guys that would, you know, be talk all night, philosophy, history, business, politics, didn't matter what it was. And he'd always say when I'd come up, he'd go, get a bottle of Chianti, bring it up, and I'd bring it up, and I remember going up a little tram to this little cabin at the top of the hill, and we'd talk all night. And he said, Richard, you know, you should go to this class. And I go, what class is that? And he goes, this Eric Moore's Actors Workshop. I go, no, I don't want to be an actor. He said, no, you really should go. There's something there for you. And because I trusted him, I finally got the courage, got the balls up, and I remember going to this class, and I've told this story several times, maybe a couple hundred times, but there's a sign over the door that says, no acting, please. And I'll never forget that. And I remember walking in the class, and I got the bleach blonde hair, you know, surfer from the beach, and these are all these New York types, you know, all kind of serious, artsy New York types. And so I feel like a fish out of water. But I'm seeing people like Jack Nicholson hanging around. I'm seeing Hampton Francher, who wrote Blade Runner, the original Sue Lyon, who played Lolita. All these actors, you know, and it's like, wow. And I'm feeling really weird and strange there. But the thing I really responded to, because I wasn't thinking about becoming an actor, I loved the exercises they were doing, which taught me so much about life, about myself, how to deal with all those fears and insecurities and all that shit that most of us push down and never deal with and gets in the way. Usually it makes most of us self-destruct or self-medicate in one way or another. But we really had to come to terms with all that stuff because it was part of freeing your, if you want to call it, your instrument, your creativity, your imagination, freeing your energy so that you could take all that and channel it, you know, step by step through an art form. I mean, a very powerful art form, because it was based on the method, into developing a character and bringing that character to life. And I love the process of it, never thinking this is a career, I'm going to make money. But I did do this thing from This Property is Condemned. It took about 9 months before I could even be able to step up and actually do material. It took about 9 months of exercise work.
Practicing, yeah.
And then I'm doing this scene, and it was the first time, me and this girl were on the railroad tracks, which is where that scene is from, and I connected to her, and I forgot about the audience, and moment to moment, we got this magical experience where you're no longer saying lines, you're just in the moment, you're connecting to the circumstance, and you're affecting one another. And again, it was one of those powerful moments like I had in that class when I had that speech. And the teacher came over to me and he said, you know, Richard, if you really, really work at it, you can have a career. And again, I couldn't put it together, but it started a process. And one of the things I loved was after every class, we would all go hang out at this little coffee house right on Santa Monica Boulevard and talk about the business. And I slowly started learning about all the productions and the casting sessions and how they get into movies, because I had no clue about all that stuff. I was very naive. And again, it just started me on a road that led into starting to do some plays, some theater. And then after I started getting into that, I finally got into this theater group that went back to New York, and I went back with them. We were in an empty ballet studio, sleeping on the floor. Somebody's father worked for Campbell's Soup, so we had a barrel with about 500 cans of Campbell's Soup. Love Campbell's Soup to this day. A lot of cheese on it, and you know, that was my subsistence. That's what I lived on. And I was in a little one room, smaller than a bathroom, on the 9th floor. And when the group went off to Europe, they decided to leave. I decided I was going to stay in New York. Had very little pennies, no money, and it was just step by step meeting people. Finally, an agent had seen me perform with that group, and he took me on and started me auditioning, and I auditioned for All My Children when it first began, which is a big soap opera, and I got cast on it, and it was really an extraordinary experience to, you know, go from really just being one of the minions out there
now, what are
to actually working on television.
Some of your memories you have, Kung Fu, you were on.
And well, my memories are the marijuana wafting through the air.
We do know the stories about the Kung Fu show.
No, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I go by David Carradine. By the way, he never had a big motorhome like most stars do of a show. He was in one of the small. He didn't have an ego about that. And you know, he had a small little motorhome. I mean, not motorhome, but a little cubicle like the rest of us. But every time I walked by, man, it was just you'd be stoned before you even got to the set. I think he wanted everybody stoned before they went to the set. But it was. I remember the girl I was on it with, Amy Eccles, beautiful, just absolutely stunning woman.
Hook up with her after the show?
I think we did go out a few times.
I think so.
I remember now. Yes, we did. So it again, it was kind of. I got started guesting when I came back from, after 2 years on All My Children, I was doing a rock musical at night down in the East Village, and I was doing the soap during the day, and my contract was up, and I decided to come back to LA, started auditioning for all the nighttime series, and got on the Waltons, you know.
Streets of San Francisco.
The
Love Boat.
Oh, yeah.
The Love Boat. Fantasy Island. Tattoo. The plane.
Fantasy Island. The plane. The plane. Yeah, I got to do all those things in Hawaii Five-0. It's funny, I admit, Jack Lord.
Slickest hair in the business.
At a screening for Stony Burke, which was a series he was doing at that time, a cowboy series. And I remember I was up front, sitting down, and they had all come out from the screening, and Jack came over and sat down next to me, and you know, we got into a conversation, and I don't remember if he remembered me, but the funny part is I had this great conversation with him, very, very nice man. And then I remember when I auditioned for Hawaii Five-0, and believe it or not, when you're a starving actor living hand to foot on the floor, barely getting by, and all of a sudden you get on Hawaii Five-0, you get to fly first class to Hawaii. You get taken to the Kahala Hilton, one of the biggest, most prestigious hotels. First class. You get this big per diem, and you feel like a king, right, for that week that you're filming. So everybody loved to go on that Hawaii Five-0. And all I remember is, for some reason, Jack took a liking to me. And every time he was directing, he brought me over.
Oh, wow.
Every time.
Awesome.
And I never saw him outside of work, or there was no, you know, nothing like that. It was just, for whatever reason, he was most gracious, most supportive to me, and it was a great experience for me.